Good evening and welcome to Plus Sports. Definitely to be an exciting moment on the show today. We'll go straight to our guest who's waiting for us to discuss the Nigerian Basketball Football Federation inauguration by the Sport Ministry after 10 months. They've been recognized. Issues between the two boards have been resolved. And we have Jide Alaka, editor of Premium Times, talking on this issue. Good day, Jide.
Good evening, Gashu.
Yes, this is the trending topic across the sport fraternity in Nigeria. Share us your opinion on this.
Well, it's a welcome decision. Even though there's some doubt whether the sports ministry should be inaugurating a sports federation, but we are happy that all the people that are supposed to be stakeholders have sheathed their swords and are saying that they want to move the sport forward.
So what does this mean? Because this division among the two boards has led to Mali taking our place in the FIBA World Cup. What does this translate? Does it mean this is the end of administration issues in basketball in Nigeria?
You have said a prayer, Mudashiru, and I will say amen to that.
Okay, sir.
Let's hope that this is the beginning of collaboration between all stakeholders of the game. I know that there are still some whispers and all of that around, but some people are not happy that it is also still Engineer Musa Kida that is leading the organization. But like I said, everybody cannot align on the same direction. We just have to admit to ourselves that we disagree to agree.
Okay. Does this justify the sport minister's Sunday Dare initial setting up an interim management company for NBBF, but the Nigerian Basketball Federation? Does this justify his intention of making an IMC for the Basketball Federation when this crisis was on?
Well, we have to say here that the ministry has done well for ending the feud that has swallowed up the game, literally. I can't remember the last time we had the basketball league and all of that. So for me, the minister has actually done well because the end result is that we have just one body right now. And that is needed to run to push the game forward.
Okay. The list of committee, we realize that there's no mention of anybody in the other board by Mike Okoche. Do you think it's a proper thing to do? Though the minister said he is going to call on other stakeholders to be part of his board, but in the list of names, there's nobody coming from the other aggrieved party. What does this translate?
I think the major thing that we should be looking at is that right now the NBBF is just one body, and it is not two factions or three factions or four factions. Let us not dredge up what has happened in the past. For me, we can move forward if we decide that everyone connected to this game has something to bring to the table. I don't want to be thinking about whatever is happening. The reality on ground is that we have just one NBBF and we should move forward.
Okay, but most times with this, we hope that there will be grassroots development of basketball, which even when there is not aggrieved party or there's not divided body, we've not seen the best of development when it comes to basketball. What should we be expecting from Musa Kida? It seems to be expecting a real reinforced body. Do you think so?
Well, for me, the progress we've made in recent years has not actually been as a result of grassroots development. I believe we are all on the same page here.
Yeah.
But if we want to change the narrative, we can. All we need to do is ensure that the supply chain is well fed. And that can only happen if the grassroots is well taken care of. All we have had are people of Nigerian origin playing in the NBA and playing in Europe or playing in Asia that have come together to form a strong, let's say, the Tigers or the Tigress. That is what has happened. The continental tournament that we have participated in, we have not done well. So in the next 18 months to 24 months, what this NBBF board will be doing is ensure that we get at least to the semi-finals in continental competitions, and then we can start to develop again from there.
Yeah, Jide, you're an expert when it comes to local stories, local sports. Being an editor of a well-renowned news outlet, is there a rule that most of Nigerian federations concentrate so much on the national team? Nigerian football concentrates so much on the Super Eagles, the Super Falcons. Nigerian Basketball Federation concentrates so much on the Tigers, the Tigress. We have table tennis. Most concentrations is on the national teams or the best players they have. Why is it that there's nothing so much done in the developmental stage in all of these federations?
Okay, Mudachi, you need to understand how all these federations are funded. Like we always say, give the money and you will see the story. The point is there any money generated by concentrating on grassroots development?
Okay.
That's a major question to ask. As long as there is none, as long as we do not have internal mechanisms to fund these grassroots development programs, administrators will always concentrate on those units that give them money. So there's no surprise about this at all.
Okay, lastly, we appreciate your time. Do you think the recent, a little bit shift to football, because we know that the league management company is under dissolution and there's an interim management company. At the end of, where do you think that will lead us? Do you think the sport minister will also come out vindicated at the end of the day based on what has been done yesterday in Abuja? What do you think will happen with the IMC, which is the interim management company that has taken over the league management company?
The truth of the matter is, like, all these things that you mentioned are aberrations, but they are necessary. The LMC, like we have discussed on this forum, is actually no more. So there must be a body running that league. It cannot be expected to run. The NFF cannot run it right now, as we see.
Okay.
So I expect that committee to run the local league to be inaugurated before the end of the month.
Okay.
And it will follow the same course.
Okay.
Hopefully, maybe early next year, they will have elections and they will maybe concatenate a real body that will be run by the NFF.
Yes, that last question was supposed to be my last question. But before I let you go, please, the interference of the sport minister, some have said that it is undue interference based on even on the LMC and also NBBF and some, even in badminton. Share your own view about this quote and unquote interference that the sport ministry has given to some of these sport federations, the badminton federation, the basketball, and also the NFF. What do you think is for the good of the sport?
Okay, so Mudachi, we need not to think in extremes. If everything was working the way it should work, I don't think the Minister of Sports would intervene.
Okay.
The things were not working. And as the person in charge, utmost charge, he had to do something. And he did what he thought was best. And right now, I believe we have a way forward. So I would say kudos to him for that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jide Alaka, for being part of today's show. As always, we rely on your expert and neutral opinion on trending topic in regards to Nigerian sport. Thank you, Jide Alaka.
Thank you very much, Mudashiru, for having me.
Yes, and we do always have you when it comes to trending stories. And there's a report on this same Nigerian Basketball Federation. Yesterday, we gathered so much opinion on them that it took the sport minister 10 months before they can finally inaugurate the Nigerian Basketball Federation under Musa Kida as the president. And it's been interesting to note that in the last election, there were two bodies. One was recognized initially by the sport minister, but the sport minister under Sunday Diary took a turnaround and decided not to recognize both bodies. So yesterday was historical and interesting moment for Nigerian Basketball Federation under Musa Kida. Enjoy this report.
10 months after the Nigeria Basketball Federation (NBBF) elections in Benin, which returned Musa Kida as president, the federal government has inaugurated the federation's board. The inauguration finally put an end to the dispute over the authentic leadership of the body.
We move forward as a Ministry of Youth and Sports Development that takes seriously its mandate to superintend and support the federations to develop basketball. Therefore, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the inauguration of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, NBBF, led by Engineer Musa Kida. For the records, this is the only board and leadership recognized by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development and by extension the federal government of Nigeria.
It could be recalled that Kida was re-elected as NBBF president for another 4 years in an election witnessed by international observers, including representatives of the World Basketball ruling body FIBA. Kida's victory was, however, challenged by another group led by Igoche Mark, who claimed to have been elected as NBBF president in another election held on the same January 30 in Abuja.
Even in peace times, there's always tension. It depends on who is looking at what. Yes, there was palpable, tension in the air, especially what happened last week, where there was a kind of, there was a little violence there. There was a little breakdown of law and order.
This led to a crisis that eventually stalled the government's recognition of any faction as the authentic governing body for the sport.
With very great humility, we acknowledge the bitter rivalry that existed leading to the elections. This has created a very unhealthy atmosphere for the development of basketball. This situation is truly not pleasant to us, and we need every critical stakeholder on board for all of us to be able to contribute either his or her own best to the growth and development of the basketball game in Nigeria.
The fallout of the impasse was the withdrawal of Nigerian teams from international competitions, leading to FIBA replacing the women's national team, the Tigers, which had already qualified for the 2022 World Cup, with Mali's women's team. However, the federal government recently announced that it has recognized Kida's board as the authentic one for the sport in Nigeria, promising to inaugurate the board in due course. Speaking while inaugurating the board at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, Sports Minister Sunday Nare described the event as significant for the growth of basketball in Nigeria and a forward leap in the mandate of the ministry in superintending and supporting federations for the development of sports.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports, you're well aware, through its core mandate, is focused on youth and sports development, the establishment of a conducive environment for sports development and support of our athletes. will remain resolutely committed to playing that role as the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. As a ministry, we will extend that support, that cooperation to the NBBF.
Responding on behalf of the NBBF board, Kida expressed gratitude to the minister for resolving the crisis that plagued the Federation for over 5 years by recognizing the outcome of the elective Congress. Kida assured the minister that the NBBF under his watch will develop basketball from the grassroots and restore the nation's glory in international competitions.
We will ensure the development of the game of basketball from the grassroots to the national scene and regain our dominance in the African continent while we return to the global stage much better than where we were.
Our sports correspondent Osareme Yembet shares his views.
The recent announcement by the federal government led by Sports Minister Sunday Dawe that they will be recognizing Mr. Kida as the NBBF president and the inauguration of the board is a welcome one for Nigerian basketball. I feel like the story of Nigerian basketball in recent times has been very complex. We have to go back to January 30th and the election that took place in Abuja and Benin spontaneously. And with two NBBF presidents emerging, and there was difficulty knowing who to recognize. But now that the federal government has recognized one, Musa Kida, and now this will put an end to the crisis.
In the NBBF new board are Kida, that is the president, Babatunde Ogunade, vice president, Abba Kaka, Professor Yakasai, Professor Adeyonju, Adamu Deshi, Ugo Udezwe, Okoro Victor, Olumide Oyedeji. The others are Suraju Yusuf, Felix Awogo, and Colonel Sam Amedo, retired, with Njoko Peter as Secretary General.